we'll see if the floodgates open. Gersich on goal! Yes, sir! Shane Gersich makes it 2!
The last series before Christmas break is now in the books, and we're going to talk you through it tonight on North Dakota Hockey with Brad Berry. I'm Alex Heinert, and coming up, we will take you through the weekends, the ups and downs of UND's return to NCHC play against Western Michigan, detail the road that led not one but two goaltenders from Troy to Grand Forks, and find out North Dakota's plan for the holiday period, all with the head coach of UND men's hockey, Brad Berry. And Coach, coming off a big trip and a big win out in New York, not a lot of time to dwell on the victory over Boston College. Got to go right back to work with the big series against Western this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, the great experience we had out in New York playing Boston College. We knew we had to come back home and finish out the first half of the season against a tough team in Western Michigan. So again, there's a mindset there of a lot of business to be finished towards the end of the season, or the end of the first half.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the 18th ranked Broncos, the opponent to end that first half of the regular season. We'll have the highlights of that one coming up next.
North Dakota Hockey with Brad Berry on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota.
Welcome back. We're walking through UND series this past weekend against Western Michigan with Brad Berry. And Coach, a lot of times in recent years when you would go from Boston College to Western, that would be a big step down in terms of skill. Not the case, though, this year. A much improved Broncos team this time.
Yeah, absolutely. Western Michigan, they retained a lot of their players from last year, and they infused a lot of freshmen that have speed and skill. And together with that combined, it makes out for a team that can play fast, and we saw that this past weekend.
Yeah, it was number 8 versus number 18 at the Ralph beginning on Friday night for your final home series of 2016. Matheson Acapelli and the Broncos with a road win over number 1 Minnesota Duluth to their credit this season, but they'd only beaten UND once in 16 tries entering the weekend. A couple of good chances for both teams early on. Austin Baganski, a couple of hacks there on Colin Olson. And Western Michigan coming right back with a shot here on Johnson. Both teams filling each other out in the opening 10 minutes.
Yeah, you know what? The first 10 minutes was pretty fast-paced. Obviously, the Friday night, we had a lot of energy, and I thought we came out the right way and we played pretty hard.
12:42 and a goal here for you. Tyson Jost with good board play. Austin Baganski finding Shane Gersich for Shane's 12th of the season. Big opening goal for you.
Yeah, it was a pretty good structure on our neutral zone forecheck. We got a puck from them and ended up transitioning the puck quick. And Austin Baganski did a good job of finding Shane, and Shane makes no mistake on it.
I know he does not, beating Colin Olson 5-hole there to make it 1-0. Just 27 seconds later, Colton Pullman would beat Olson with a blast from the point. First collegiate goal for Colton, 2-0 for you.
Yeah, it was great to see him get his first collegiate goal there. I know he's had a few opportunities, but he's played some pretty big minutes for us here lately, and has done a good job on the blue line. And the goal was scored not only because of a good shot, but really good net front there by Joel Janatuina.
And you've got a couple of guys in front right guard here as well, making life tough for Colin Olson. A big goal to make it 2-0. Western, though, would answer. Just under a minute later, a goal back with a point shot of their own. Scott Moldenhauer beating Cam Johnson to make it 2-1.
Yeah, set play as far as when they won the draw. The biggest thing is, we didn't box out in front and give Cam a look at the puck, and they made a good shot on it, and they're back in the game.
Yeah, tough one to save. There are a lot of traffic in front for number 33, 2-1 at that point. He finished the period well, though. A couple of good chances highlighted by this attempt coming up here from Chris Wilkie off the boards in a moment.
Yeah, you know what? The biggest thing is the response after he gets scored on, and I thought our guys had a good response coming back after that and playing in their end of the rink.
Western, as we see it again, Wilkie yet to score this season. He's come oh so close a couple of times, certainly building toward one after that Boston College series. The Broncos would nearly get one here the final 30 seconds. A crazy sequence, a couple of big saves from Cam. Seeing Gersich helping out a little bit there, finding the back of the net.
Yeah, you know what? Again, they had the 3 best players on the ice there at the end of the first period, and they had a couple good looks. But again, Cam came up to make a good save there.
Able to maintain that 2-1 lead heading into the second. Cam would be tested again here. A quick one-time blast coming from Scott Moldenhauer, but again, Johnson up to the task.
Yeah, they did a little east-west play behind the net and made a play out to the top, and Cam stood his ground and made a great save.
7 minutes in, still 2-1. Christian Wolanin walking the line here, would fire one in from the point. Austin Paganski with the big redirect to make it 3-1 for you.
Yeah, it's a little reminiscent of Pullman's goal from the blue line. The biggest thing is we had net front and get a little bit of traffic there, and ended up creating a goal there.
A couple of minutes later, 4-on-4 hockey here. Shane Gersich nearly makes it 4 on the breakaway chance.
Yeah, it's Shane. What he brings to the game is speed, and he created off his speed.
Later in the second, you'd make it 4-1. Dixon Bowen, really nice shot that time to beat Olsen, glove high.
Yeah, he made a great shot to come into the zone, but again, Ludwikoff separated the puck at the neutral zone and gave Dixon a chance to make a nice play.
That goal would make up Andy Murray's mind as he goes to the bench. Olsen lifted in favor of the freshman Ben Blacker. The change in net, though, wouldn't signal a stop in scoring for you. Another shot from the point that Pagansky able to redirect in. Second goal of the night for Austin.
Yeah, and again, Austin does a great job of taking the eyes away of the goaltender, but also using a stick for the deflection there, and he does a great job in net front there.
Yeah, you work on this a lot in practice. Again, this isn't luck. This is a skill.
Yeah, it is. It's stuff that you work on during practice and after practice because it's so tough to score. You have to try to get in the goalie's eyes and then also try to tip it.
Little pushback from Western here in the third. Great reaction save from Cam off of the deflection off of Trevor Olsen's skate. You got to be alert in games like this.
Yeah, you know what? If they can't get entry and go around our defenseman, they'll shoot through a screen. And again, he had to make a terrific save off that shot.
For the most part, though, you really saw this game out well. The final 20 minutes, the majority of chances down at your end. Austin Pagansky fighting for an opportunity for the hat trick. Tucker Pullman here trying to create something shorthanded nearly with the breakaway chance. Better push over those final 15 minutes or so for the group.
Yeah, and that was what we talked about, the mindset of, not letting off the gas. We've been there before in a 5-1 lead over Bemidji, and they came back. We wanted to make sure that we close out the game the right way here.
And Gersich there feeding Pagansky. Not the hat trick tonight for Austin, but still a comprehensive 5-1 win for UND. You get your 9th win of the season, your 2nd in a row to improve to 16-1 all-time against the Broncos.
Tonight we played relentless and tenacious all over the ice for a full 60, and that's how we played against St. Cloud and this last weekend against BC, so we got to keep playing like that and play with that tomorrow.
It was a full team effort and a few goals that happened. There was a few shifts beforehand that guys were just grinding the puck down low, and then we were able to get one in. So it's not just the line that scored, but it's all the lines before that are just putting pressure on, kind of getting us momentum, and then it pays off.
There can't be any letdown here, especially going into break. We want to end on a high note, so we really got to focus up here. It's a new game tomorrow, so they're going to bring it. We know that, and we got to match that.
You get the 5-1 win on Friday. Goals flying in from all over the place. The top 3 lines, every player on those top 3 each scoring a point for you. Great show of the depth on this team that's emerging.
Yeah, and that's a good sign of hopefully things to come here. I know the last 3 games we've been having some depth scoring, and that's what you need to do to have success. Obviously, you have the usual suspects that score the goals most of the time, but in order to win, especially in the second half, we have to make sure that we have depth scoring, and that's what we've had.
Yeah, mission accomplished on Friday. Always tougher on day 2, though. We'll have the highlights against the Broncos from Saturday when we come back. Welcome back. Well, it was a convincing 5-1 win for North Dakota on Friday night, but we would find out Saturday afternoon that one of the key components of that victory, Tyson Jost, not going to be there for you on Saturday. An important day for him, getting the call up to go and join Team Canada for the Worlds. Tough timing, of course, for North Dakota.
Yeah, it is tough timing, but at the same time, knowing that we want to give him his best chance to make Team Canada, and that's a protocol for Hockey Canada. We dealt with it with Johnny Taves when he was here. You know what? We have 26 great players in our locker room. That it's the next man up mentality.
Yeah, Tyson, one of 3 players for UND with a chance to make the Worlds, along with Brock Besser and Matej Tomic. We'll talk more about that coming up on our next show. First, though, Saturday night highlights here against Western Michigan. A chance for UND to earn the sweep and finish the holiday period strong. This was the final game before a 20-day stretch over the holidays. Cam Johnson coming off a 24-save performance on Friday. He'd be tested, though, early and often in this one. A strong push from Western right from the start.
Yeah, Western came out hard, obviously losing the Friday night game. They made a push early here. They played with some speed and execution here, and they had a couple chances early on us.
Yeah, 9 saves for Johnson in the first. He would keep the Broncos at bay, though, despite the number of decent chances. And you always expect the team, after a tough loss on Friday, to come out the aggressor on Saturday, and that was the case.
Yeah, it was. And again, they've been sitting in their hotel all day on Saturday waiting for this game and, try to get some redemption. And again, they made a push early on, and Cam did a good job of stopping them.
Decent chance of skill here from Shane Gersich on the other end. First real look for UND about 7 minutes in or so. Shane, who's been so hot. We'll hear from him a little more later, but Western Michigan would eventually strike first. The penalty here on Andrew Pesky on the trip. That puts the Western Michigan team on the power play. They've been so good at that this season, despite going 0 for 3 on Friday nights. Wade Allison able to put the puck in the back of the nets.
Yeah, they made a nice play on entry here. They came up the ice with speed. They kicked the puck out, they got it back, and then they made a good lateral play here. And we got a little separated on our penalty kill coming in through the neutral zone.
1-0 halfway through the first. The intensity would really ratchet up. You guys started throwing the bodies around a little bit. That seemed to get the crowd and the team into the contest.
Yeah, it did. Obviously it's nice that we had a pushback here, and we weren't happy when we let out that first goal, and then again our guys made a response after that.
Final minute 30 left. More good board play from Rhett Gardner. That sets up Gersic. Second goal in as many nights for Shane, the big equalizer here.
Yeah, it was kind of reminiscent of the goal the night before when he came in and made a nice backhand play off of neutral zone transition. So again, Shane Gersic has been hot the first half, and we need that for the second half.
And Gersic now tied with Matheson Acapelli for the NCHC goals lead. He's atop the point standings with 24. A couple decent chances here for Western Michigan on the power play. Cam Johnson, though, again able to step up and keep the Broncos at bay and keep the score tied at 1.
Yeah, again, they made a little push in the second here, and Cam stood his ground, and we needed to make a response after that.
Yeah, another good stop here coming up from Cam, and a little help there from Shane Gersic pinching in, and good defense here eventually turns into good offense. Good play along the boards. Puck would squirt free for Shane Gersic. He would find Christian Milan here on the breakaway.
Yeah, again, Christian jumping up from the front of the net there. We made a play off the glass. Sometimes that's the only play you have, and it ended up creating some offense for us.
Yeah, Milan with 4 assists on Friday. Very active offensively on Saturday as well. Final 5 minutes here, another decent chance. Chances starting to come thick and fast here for you as this period went along.
Yeah, we played with some pace here in the second, and I thought our game got back in order here. Once we did that. So again, we had some offensive looks that we just didn't cash in the second here.
Good awareness here from Cam Johnson. A pass in front that he's able to get a stick out of. Matheson Acapelli waiting on the doorstep. Keeps it at 1-1. Another nice reaction saved by Johnson at the tail end of the second as well.
Yeah, he had to get called on, make a stop here. I know one of our D-men tried to block the shot and went off his leg, and sometimes you might want to just let Cam see that.
Johnson busy again at the start of the third. Wade Allison, the goal scorer from early on, firing in, ends up charging into Johnson, but a big save there because if that puck goes in, the charge doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly right. And, he held his ground there, and obviously goalie interference was on the play, but like I said, Cam stood his ground, made a trick to save it at a key time of the game.
Yeah, tail end of that power play after the Allison penalty, a scary moment there as Ludwig Hoff gets clattered into the boards head first. That would end up being a 5-minute major against Taylor Fleming. Second 5-minute major for Fleming of the night, a game misconduct. Great opportunity here on this 5-minute power play. A lot of good chances over these 5 minutes.
Yeah, you know what? We had plenty of looks here, and again, I think what we did, once we did get in the zone, it was tough getting in the zone on entry, but we missed the net a few times, and we didn't cash in on some of the looks we had. This was kind of a momentum shift in the game. Obviously, when you have a 5-minute major and you don't score, that's momentum for the other team.
Yeah, it felt like it was only a matter of time before you'd get one by. Western able to stay strong in there. Ben Blacker again scrambling time and time again, a couple of pucks at the top of the crease, unable to take advantage though, and then out of that power play, Western gets the kill, and then they get the second goal.
Yeah, and this was right after the 5-minute major, and they zip the puck around a little bit, and then anytime Wade Allison gets a puck, he's a sniper, he's a goal scorer. He made a nice shot there to give him the lead.
Yeah, second round draft pick of Philadelphia roofs that one to make it 2-1 for Allison's second of the night. Final 3 minutes here, a couple more good chances. Again, fighting for that game-tying goal. It just wouldn't come in this one.
Yeah, and again, we had some looks to the net. We had some good net front, but again, we couldn't cash in. Blacker, give it to him. He played a solid game here, and again, we were trying to get it in, but just couldn't quite close it.
Certainly the effort and the desire there. Another decent chance. Pagansky, Gersic all hacking at it, but some nights just not meant to be. And then in the closing minutes, Michael Rebry here just firing one down to the empty net to seal it off at 3-1.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. You're down a goal, you have to pull your goaltender, and they made a desperation play to pull it to 2.
Western earning the split with the 3-1 victory. Again, the big number, 30 penalty minutes for the Broncos. No power play goals for UND. The hosts go 0 for 6 on the man advantage. A tough one to end before Christmas.
I think our start wasn't as good. After a team loses like that, we got to be ready for a team to have a push, and it wasn't good enough to start. And we battled back in the game. We had some ups and had some downs during the game, and that was a little bit like our first half.
We knew that they're going to come hard from the first shift, and I don't know. Like, we talked about it, we just didn't act on it. It's just, I think we have a little mental problem right now. We just got to look ourselves in the mirror and get better.
Important for us to reflect, each guy on how the first half went as a team and individually, and what we need to improve on. And it sucks losing, but it should be good fire for the break for us to keep working on our game.
You heard there Tucker Pullman mentioning that the game and this weekend really kind of a microcosm of what the first half of the season was. Some really great flashes for this team, just not quite enough consistency over the ends.
Yeah, I think he's 100% right. We had a great start, and then we had a little bump in the road midway through that first half, and then we got it going again a little bit. And the biggest thing for us is coming back in the second half and knowing what gave us success on a daily basis through practices and the games, and try to string games together. I think the biggest thing is making sure that when we have success, we remain even keel and hard working so that we try to keep having success game in and game out.
Big 20-day period now between games for your team. What is the plan between now and that game on New Year's Eve against Union?
Well, there's a few things. Obviously, finals week for our guys, finishing up the first semester with their finals, them going home, taking time with their families for Christmas, and then coming back on the 26th and getting revved up and ready to go for the second half of the season. We have one non-conference game left with Union before we get back into the remaining schedule with the NCHC competition. We need to make sure that we rest up and get ready to go for the second half.
Yeah, so that New Year's Eve game will be here before we know it, Coach. Enjoy the holidays with your family. We'll talk to you back in January.
Yeah, thanks, Alex, for all you guys do.
Oh, you bet. Thanks, Brad. Stick around, coming back in a moment with more on UND Hockey with Brad Berry. Welcome back. Well, not to state the obvious, but Troy, Michigan and Grand Forks, North Dakota don't have a whole lot in common, but the two cities are connected, at least this season, by two first-class goaltenders who share the same hometown and the same nets here at Ralph Engelstad Arena.
I like to tell everybody that, I was born and raised on the streets of Detroit, but, Troy is actually the opposite of Detroit. It's very blue collar, and, it's a very, very nice community. It's a very good community to grow up in.
I guess it's just a regular city. It's like a suburb. It's a nice suburb, but there's a lot of nice places to eat. We have a great mall, so that was fun for me growing up.
Cam Johnson and Lexie Shaw have fond memories of growing up in the Detroit suburb of Troy, a place that's become an unlikely pipeline for talent between the pipes at UND. In a case of pure coincidence, Johnson and Shaw have journeyed from the same hometown over 1,000 miles away to become the starting goaltenders for North Dakota's men's and women's hockey teams this season. The two were drawn to hockey at an early age, and the passion's only grown since.
We were figure skaters growing up, and then when I turned like 8 or so, I'm like, I want to try hockey. Like my brother has all the old goalie pads and stuff, so I just got to put on his equipment and I just tried hockey and I fell in love with it.
You start with house hockey, and everyone's got to play goalie, so you switch around the rotation. And I remember every time we played a good team, they all wanted me to play goalie. All the guys would vote me to play goalie. So I think it was in second grade I finally decided, like, what the heck, let's go with being a goalie.
I think I started my first spring being a defenseman, and I didn't want to get off the ice. So I'm like, I want to play goalie. Like, I just want to be out there the whole entire time.
Even though Troy's a big city, hockey connected the Shaw and Johnson families when the pair was younger.
I think me and Cam's older brothers played hockey together.
They went to the same school, they played on the same high school team, and her brother was actually a goalie too, so I used to, love going to, I always watch the goalies when I go to games, so I would obviously, kind of focus on him.
The two quickly made names for themselves in the Michigan youth ranks and started to garner interest from Division I programs. Once the pair experienced UND, though, there was only one school to commit to.
I think we were playing a game in Minnesota, so then we just made the trek up here. And I had no idea what to expect. I'm like, I've never really been to North Dakota. I've never heard of Grand Forks ever. And then you see the rink and you're like, I could see myself playing here. So then every other place you go, you're just trying to compare it to the Ralph, and it never adds up.
Growing up in Michigan, you always want to play for the Michigans and the Michigan States, but when I look back at it, it's been such a blessing to be here. And if I could do it over, if I had an offer from Michigan and an offer from North Dakota, I would still definitely come to North Dakota.
It's safe to say that both made the right college choice. Shaw's become a rock in goal this season and is among the top netminders in the WCHA, while Johnson has rewritten the UND record books in his year and a half as a starter and led the team to a national title. Both share the same attributes needed for success in net: quick reflexes, sharp eyes, and a willingness to embrace the stress of the position.
I think you gotta love the pressure. Like, if your team's not doing too well that day, just you can get them back in the groove. You gotta embrace the pressure.
I love the pressure. it's something either guys can deal with or guys can't, and it's something that I think I've dealt with well. And for the most part, it's pressure position, and you're either the hero or everybody hates you. So, you know, it's one or the other.
Shaw's now in her final year at UND, while Johnson could leave for the pro ranks after this season, meaning the Troy era in Grand Forks might not last much longer. But no matter what the future brings, Cam and Lexie will always be connected by the hometown, the position, and the alma mater they'll share.
It is pretty crazy, especially, you know, of all the cities in Michigan and all the cities in the United States, that somehow 2 people from Troy, Michigan ended up being starting goalies at the University of North Dakota.
When we come back, we'll let you know what's on tap for North Dakota in January of 2017. Stay tuned.
North Dakota Hockey with Brad Berry on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota.
North Dakota will have 3 weeks until their next contest, a New Year's Eve tilt in New York against a ranked Union team of the ECAC. That'll mark the last non-conference game of the regular season for North Dakota, as it'll be all NCHC play in 2017. Our next North Dakota hockey broadcast here on Midco SN will be January 13th and 14th against Miami, 2 of 5 live games we'll have for you in the second half of the regular season. That'll do it for our final episode of 2016, but we'll be back in the new year with an all-new North Dakota Hockey with Brad Berry on Tuesday, January 3rd. Until then, I'm Alex Heinert. Have a happy and safe holiday season, and I'll see you in 2017.